Hello guys, today we're taking another look at one of these cheap RC vehicles. This is the 1/28 scale wheel loader. The company is Rui Chang, something like that looks like. It's unbranded on the vehicle as far as I can tell, but it looks to me to be a Volvo L350, or a copy of a Volvo L350, based on the weight block at the back, the way it's painted up. Looks like the grate or the grille that's on the back of a L350. That would be too surprising, because I'm pretty sure the excavator in this series is based on a Volvo EC 460, and there's obviously a Volvo A40D dumper as well, so we're all roughly the same. This is another one of these builds where I expect it to be, you have motors to drive it, steer it, and raise and lower the boom. So we're going to do like the Mercedes Actros, throw in our own electronics and see if we can just improve the control. Try and not get too carried away on making it, lift very heavy weights or anything like that. We'll just stick to the simple things and get a nice model working with lights and good proportional speed control. And that's all we really need to do. So I'll get this unboxed and we can take a better look at it. So before we go any further, just to show you, it looks like the packing wasn't very good on this one. You can see where it hit the front there, it's hit the sides, it's kind of been beat about. There's a lot of marks on the controller. Lots of marks on the controller, so you can see it's been bouncing around there. It's pretty loose on the steering, so I wonder if something's broken on the inside of it there. We'll just have to wait and see. There's a cable tie on the bottom here, but it's not even connected, I don't think. It doesn't look like that's connected. The ones at the front, well, that's connected to nothing. There's cable ties there, but they're not connected to anything, so not really doing anything. So packaging on this one was pretty poor. There's a bunch of bubble wrap in here. Not sure if that was doing anything, but so I'll get it out of the rest of the packaging and we'll see if it survived at all. One more thing you might miss if you weren't too careful on this packaging: the antennas are in the corner, so make sure and grab that. Well, this is an antenna, this is just a straw to put the wire antenna of the vehicle into. So you can see on the back here, this wire antenna, so this straw would just be for doing like this. So obviously this is a very high frequency. The excavator was only a small little, well, it had no antenna coming out of here, so it was obviously 2.4 gigahertz or higher frequency. So this is obviously a much lower frequency, maybe 800 megahertz or something like that. 27 megahertz actually, it's way lower. So this is more of an old school type of thing. Okay, so now we have it out of the box. I'll show you the damage, so you can see all the marks there where it's been bouncing off the controller on the steering of it. That doesn't feel like a mechanical connection to me, so I would assume that whatever's gearbox or whatever's supposed to be turning that is broken. There's a lot of play in the axle of that. You have a rear wheel that looks bent to me. Obviously a slip clutch in this. So you can see that wheel is bent, or maybe I should spin the top one. That's hard to tell, but you'll see it later, I'm sure. That wheel looks to be bent off center. There's a few scratches on the back, but it's actually not as bad as I would have expected after looking at the controller. Okay, so before we get into actually testing it out, let's just check the scale. So the width of an L350 should be, well, the real one is 3630 millimeters. So at 128 scale, that's 130. So let's just get a measurement here. Then 130.85, so spot on as 128 scale. So again, to do a size comparison, this is the Volvo A40D. This is supposed to be 132 scale as well. I think this is a new race. So this is 128 scale, this is 132. And you can see the truck is a little bit smaller, but it's not massively smaller. Don't forget, this is a huge quarry type of a wheel loader. It's not like thing you'd be using for, say, a forklift or something like that. It's a massive wheel loader. You'd really only have it on a quarry. Like 3.6 meters. That is, I'm pretty sure that's wider than a motorway lane in this country. That'd be very hard to transport anywhere in Ireland, really. Something at 3.6 meters wide. And again, to put the scale in perspective, these are all 132 scale. The Mercedes Actros, Fendt 930, and Toyota Land Cruiser. So this gives you an idea of the sort of scale that it would be if you were using it with your 132 scale vehicles. Again, like the excavator, the 128 scale excavator, it's pretty big, but if you're modelling a big quarry and you had plenty of space, it probably wouldn't be that far out of space. Like, the cab is pretty close. It's not enormous. Like, I'd say if you put a Siku man into that, it wouldn't look crazy. But you would want a pretty big diorama. I don't think this would really suit my diorama all that well. Well, because there was no charger in this, I am expecting if we open the battery box that it won't actually have a rechargeable battery. The other thing that's making me think this is because it's the 27 megahertz. I'm guessing this is a pretty old design of a model. Yeah, so that looks like some sort of a AA battery compartment there. So 4 AA batteries to get that powered up, and this is probably another 9-volt battery. Yeah, so another 9-volt battery there. So I'll get those batteries and we'll see how this works. Okay, so I have the batteries in it now. There's actually 3 modes on this. There's just on, and then there's on with no sound. So we'll go straight for the no sound version, just to make life a little easy for ourselves. I don't see any lights on this one. On the controller, we'll just hit the on button. There's only 3 buttons on this. These 2 joysticks on the steering wheel. So our steering is making a noise, but it's not. It seems to be slightly pulling it, so I don't know. I assumed it was just totally broke. It's not really doing anything though, in fairness. So that's the lifting the boom there, or the front loader, and clearly it has a slip clutch. That's what you can hear clicking there. And the same on the bottom. So that's basically what you would have expected. So not really surprised about that. The forward and reverse working okay. But clearly the steering on this one is broken anyway. So that could be something for us to investigate, to see what's wrong. You can hear from, like, very noisy. It's obviously cheap plastic, you know, general toy sort of motors. It's nothing surprising about that at all. It's what you would expect. So let's try the sound. I presume this will be terrible. Usually is. and the steering has miraculously started to work. Okay, maybe I spoke too soon. The sound is not great, but actually it's not as bad as I would have expected. I'm pretty sure the Mercedes, it sounded like a race car or something. It was terrible. So the sound's probably not terrible, but I couldn't be listening to that. So I'll be getting rid of the speaker. Well, unless I keep the speaker for a horn or something like that. That might be more useful for it. Well, as you can see, we have drive. We're supposed to have steering. And we have the raising and lowering of the boom. So I don't expect that'll lift much weight, but at least the function is there. So in terms of what we could do to this, we replaced the electronics with our own. That would give us variable speed control, because obviously with this we had no speed control. I would probably cut the axle on this so that these two wheels could spin independently. That would improve our steering. And we can obviously add some LED lights, probably to the rear. There might be some up there as well, a few in the cab. So there's a good few places you could add some lights to that, and that could all be done very, very simply. A little bit more complicated would be getting the bucket to tip forward, but it's quite a large model, so you could pretty much fit an N20 motor in there, fit a servo in there, whatever you wanted really, and you should be able to get that tipping fairly easily as well. So I'll get back on to Banggood and just report this issue with the steering. We'll see what they come back with. I probably would have already mentioned that in the video if they've come back with, you know, whatever refund or whatever happens to be, and then we'll see what we're doing with this. We'll probably take it apart and just see what went wrong, just out of interest, but that'll be for another video. That's basically all there is to this. There'll be a link in the description if you want one. Hopefully they're not all coming with the steering broken. I'd imagine I just got unlucky with the packing or the shipping. I would say the RC excavator looks to be a better quality, although I haven't finished that video yet, so maybe there's some problems with it that I haven't identified yet. But going on the battery and to this 2.4 gigs, I'd say that it's a more modern design than this, so you'd imagine it'd be a little bit better. But that was just the first look at the basic features. We'll bring it up to the diorama as it is. Well, obviously with the steering fixed, or if we have to wait for another one for Banggood, well, fair enough. But when we're ready, we'll go to the diorama. We'll see what it looks like on the 132 scale scenery. It's probably going to be too big for mine anyway, but to be some of the other guys you see on YouTube, and they have huge probably, you know, fields that are 8 foot by like 12 foot or something like that, massive scenery, and this would not be lost in a decent sized quarry sort of landscape, in fairness. So you could have this loading your CQ tractors coming in if you had a big enough scenery. But yeah, that's the basic features of it. Hope you enjoyed the video and you have some idea now of what we're going to try and do with this. Thanks very much for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please hit the like button, and if you don't want to miss out on the next video, click the subscribe button below and get the bell on for notifications. A big thanks to all our patrons, sponsors, and you guys buying the PCBs for your own projects. That all helps to support the channel and keep the content coming. And speaking of content, there should be links on the screen now to a few more videos if you want to keep watching. And if you go to the channel homepage, you'll see that there are plenty of playlists there to check out. But that's all I have for today, so I'll see you in the next video.